So the Crew Motorfest Season 7 is right around the corner. I guess we are 2 weeks away from the next update. So yeah, we're gonna find out about the new content for the Season 7 update. But to be honest, I'm not expecting much. Yeah, it will be just like a filler update, just like the Season 6 update, trust me. So I'm not expecting a lot of improvements or maybe a proper new content that we will have in Season 7. Yeah, probably there will be a new cars, new playlists, yeah, all sort of that stuff, you know. So it won't be a biggest update that we will ever have, just like Season 5 update. But I know a lot of the player base still really want this game to improve a lot. Because yeah, this game still has a lot of flaws to it. For example, like the server connection issues or maybe, you know, lack of proper PvP content. Yeah, because the only PvP content that we have for the Crew Motorfest is only Gran Race and also Demo Royale, but we already know no one plays Demo Royale. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the stuff or maybe the improvements that the player really want to see in the future updates. Yeah, probably some of these features or maybe content will be added in the Season 8 update. Well, trust me, if my theory is correct, I guess we will have a brand new island for Season 8. So there will be a lot of content that we will get in Season 8 update or maybe for Year 3 of the Crew Motorfest. So we're gonna discuss the 5 mostly requested features and improvements for the Crew Motorfest feature updates that the player really want to see. So yeah, let's jump into the video. Alright, the first improvement and the features that the player really want to see in the Crew Motorfest future updates is the proper crossplay. A fully crossplay the Crew Motorfest, because we already know the crossplay features for this game is kind of a bit a scam. Because crossplay only works for Gran Race, Demo Royale, and also the leaderboards like summits or maybe just like the playlist event. Yeah, it's kind of pointless to add your friends from other platforms. For example, you're playing on PC, like me currently, and then I'm trying to add my friends from the PlayStation because majority of my friends playing the Crew Motorfest on the PlayStation. So when I try to add them, it's only a Ubisoft friends. But when I try to invite them, it doesn't work. Because you can only play with your friends unless you have the same consoles or same platform. Well, why is my leaderboard that doesn't work properly? Yeah, because sometimes you can see like the PlayStation people who play this game, Xbox people, and also the PC people or the Ubisoft people. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating that you cannot play with your friends from other platforms. Yeah, for instance, I want to grind the custom mode with my friends on the PS5 or maybe cruise around in the free roam with my friends on the PS5 or maybe on the Xbox. But because it's IVT, well, you cannot do that. And the other racing games or the competitor for the Crew Motorfest like Forza Horizon or maybe Need for Speed games, well, you can play those games with fully functioning crossplay. Yeah, it's very pointless to add your friends if they're playing on other platforms. Well, you cannot invite them to your crew, you cannot invite them to your session. So yeah, IVT, add proper crossplay to the Crew Motorfest. Well, it's already 2025, and this is the only racing games that didn't have a proper crossplay. Well, sorry, TDU Solar Card also didn't have a proper crossplay and also region lock. So, well, that's even worse than the Crew Motorfest. The second one, this is also one of the mostly requested improvements or features, is increasing the player count numbers for free roam session. Because for the free roam session, it's only available for like 8 people per session. There is really a small amount of people that we can have in our free roam session. Well, what's worse, the crew members only can fit 4 players. And the other racing games like Forza Horizon can fit like 12 people. Yeah, I just hope IVT can increase the player count numbers per session or also the crew to like 8 to 12 people, or maybe for session players can add them to like maybe 12 to 16. Yeah, because hey, we already have like a large map in the game, but why we still have 8 people per session? It doesn't make any sense. It makes the game kind of bit dead if we have like a small amount of people in our session and they only limited to like 8. So yeah, if they increasing the player count numbers for free roam session and also adding a proper crossplay, well, it will be really populated, just like the Forza Horizon games. Like IVT, do your job better, please. Well, for example, the Grand Race, you can play with 28 players per session. Demo Royale can play with 32 players per session. So it's kind of crazy that, the player count numbers for free roam is still very few compared to the other game modes. And also custom show, it can feature like 30 people per session. So yeah, they already make it happening. But why they didn't even, increasing the player numbers for the free roam session? That's really crazy. Well, the other stuff that we really want to see in the future updates for the Crew Motorfest is the PvP improvements. Yes, because I know a lot of people really want to see a proper PvP mode, because the only PvP game modes that a lot of people play is the Grand Race. And rather know, Grand Race can be really frustrating and not a lot of people is a big fan of the Grand Race. I know it can be really fun and very entertaining, but if you already play it for like 2 to 3 hours, it can be really frustrating. Especially when you're encountering a lot of rammers, or maybe if you just like streaming the game, playing the Grand Race with your friends and viewers, there will be a lot of people who stream snipe you, and it can piss you off really easily. Well, that's the reason why we really need like a proper private lobbies or something, or maybe a private PvP lobbies that we can just like race in some certain playlist event, and you race with your friends with like maybe 8 to 12 people in your session. Yeah, that would be really fun if they just like return to the classics. Well, if you play the Crew 2, you guys remember the PvP mode called Live Battle. And Live Battle is basically you race in some certain events only for one race, and then you race with other 8 people in your lobby, or maybe lesser. Also, they have like a voting system for the players to, vote for the event that they really want. For example, there's like hypercar event, or street racing with bikes, or maybe cars, and a lot of people choose the hypercar event because they will want to race with the faster cars. But yeah, I just hope if they adding like a proper PvP mode or private lobbies, that will be really fun. We can just like invite people in our session, race with your viewers and friends, and we can just like race very peacefully without encountering with other shitheads. Why am I disconnected? What the hell? Yeah, like I said, if they adding like a private lobby, so we can just like race in a certain playlist event, just like one event or something, and then we can just like vote for the next event, that will be really fun and also very peaceful for a lot of people who hosted some tournaments or maybe playing with viewers on the stream. Yeah, that would be really great. And other than that, maybe if they still really want to focusing on improving the Grand Race, well, they could just add a voting system. Like for example, this one, the rotation is racing, Alpha GP, and Street Tier 2. I think it's because it's Saturday, so it's no collision. I know a lot of people likes the no collision. What we really want to see by Ivory Tower is adding the voting system for the Grand Race playlist rotation. Because I know not a lot of people is big fan for Drift Grand Race, or maybe Monster Trucks and Motocross Grand Race. So yeah, whenever we just like jump into the lobby right here, it'll be like a voting screen. Like we can choose what playlist or rotation that we really want. For example, the left one we have like Monster Trucks, Motocross, and Rally. And then in the middle one we can have like Alpha GP, Racing, and Shoot to 1, I guess. And in the right one we have a Rally, Rally Raid, and maybe Street to 2. But you know what? They can make this happening. But I don't know, IVT is being lazy, so yeah, they want to save a lot of time and they really want to improve everything in the next update. Yeah, we just really want to have like a proper voting system before we enter to the the race. Because you know what, like the Grand Race flow will always refresh every 20 minutes and we will see a brand new playlist rotation. That would be really boring, like we have to wait for 20 minutes for the Grand Race playlist that we didn't really want to play. So we can just like vote for it, and when we enter the lobby, so the 28 people in the Grand Race before we start the race can vote for the playlist that they really want to play. That is a massive improvement if they adding the voting system before we enter to the Grand Race. Because I know a lot of people is already bored with Grand Race because they already know with the rotation, They already know with the, no collision will always happening every Saturday. Also with the main stage modifier sometimes. So that's why we really want to something better, something changed for the Grand Race flow or rotation. Yeah, that will be really perfect, trust me. So for the next mostly requested improvements by nearly all the player base is the vehicle handling improvements. Well, in Season 6 we actually have plenty vehicle handling improvements. For example, like the McLaren hypercars, the Ferrari hypercars, and also a couple of the Fords for Shooter 2 and the Mercedes for the Shooter 2 cars. So yeah, we will want to see more of the handling improvements in the future updates for some certain vehicle category or maybe vehicle brand. Yeah, for instance, because we already know drift cars, or maybe 95% of the drift cars in the category is broken. Well, maybe except the Unicorn, the Unitron, and maybe the Mitsubishi Evos. Like 5 of those cars is like the proper drift cars that is really working. Or because maybe the Unicorn and this Evo 9, it doesn't have the broken steering and physics like the other drift cars in the class. And also the bikes. The bikes handles terribly because it understeers a lot and everything. And also maybe a couple of the racing category cars, because we already know the only good options for the racing class is maybe the Gordon Murray T50s or also maybe the Camaro SS. For example, the Koenigsegg CCGT or maybe the Bugatti Bolide, it's understeered so badly. If you play the beta, the closed beta for the Crew Motorfest, you probably know the Bolide is actually very meta. It's very broken in racing class, but IVT managed to nerf it so badly. Or maybe handling improvements for the Shooter 1 and Shooter 2 cars. For example, my beloved Mitsubishis. Yeah, they're really useless and it's trash in this game. I just really wanted to see my boy Evo 6 improve a lot in the future updates, because this thing is rubbish. And also the Evo 9. Also, I really like the Evo 9 and 3000 GT, but they handle terribly. They're garbage to drive. And also, they should improve all the rally raid vehicles, because some of them are very undrivable. For example, like the, where's the car? It's the rally raid, there you go. This thing is very broken. I don't know why. So whenever I'm driving this thing, hold on, let me get up to speed, because this thing cannot go straight if I'm trying to turn to the corners. Oh, there you go. I cannot counter steer properly. Yeah, this thing is, this thing has a broken physics. It's like maybe 50% of the rally raid cars is unusable because they have like a broken steering physics. Like most of them you cannot corner properly. Like you're trying to turn fully and then it will just like spun out. Like, doesn't make any sense. Look, I cannot counter steer this thing, what the hell? And this might be the worst rally raid vehicle that we have in the class. Like, what the hell? If you say the Creator's Fun is the worst one, no, you're wrong. That thing is still drivable. This thing, no, it's not drivable. Or maybe it's my skill issue. Oh, here we go again. Yeah, I remember when I streamed Gran Race, a lot of my viewers picking my cars and they picked this. And when I drive this thing, oh my god, they cannot turn for shit. I mean, it cannot go straight, that's the reason. Yeah, a lot of the rally raid cars, drift cars, bikes, and also a couple of shooter cars really needs a lot of handling improvements. Yeah, I just hope so in the future. So for the last features and improvement that nearly all the player base really want to see in the future updates for the Crew Motorfest is still relating to the PvP content. Yes, they should add ranked mode for the PvP. Yeah, ranked mode will be really perfect for, Gran Race or also the regular PvP mode, just like we have in the Crew 2 if they manage to add them back in the Crew Motorfest. Because, it can separate the competitive players and also the casual players. So the ranked mode can be filled with a lot of the competitive players or the sweats, and then the regular mode or maybe the unranked mode, it can be playable for all of you casual players who just really want to have fun in the Grand Race. You know what, I'm not really a competitive person, so I guess that's a really best approach to separate, you know, the casual player base and also the competitive player base. Because I know maybe a lot of you will be very bored to see that every time you will always get gapped by the meta boys in the Gran race. So that will be really perfect to separate the ranked mode and the unranked mode, either for Gran race or maybe, you know, a proper PvP mode. Well, because we already know, nearly all the player base who play the Crew Motorfest mainly plays the Gran race and also doing the summits every week or maybe every day. Yeah, that's what we do. Like me, for example, if I really want to play with my friends and my viewers on the stream, I just play Gran race with them because, yeah, it's very easy for them to just like get into my lobby and then we can just like race with each other. And also they still need to improve the desync. They should do that as well. Because the connection, the desync for the Gran race is so terrible. If they improve all those stuff that the player really wants to see in the future updates, this game will improve a lot, trust me. This game will be playable and will be the best open world racing games that we can play currently. Yeah, because this is the time Motorfest to shine. We already know the competitor is not updating the game anymore. Like Forza Horizon 5 is already dead. They won't update the game anymore unless the developers adding something new or something, but they won't. And all the player base for Forza Horizon, they really desperate for the next Horizon games. But they have to wait for next year. And then for Need for Speed, well, it's already dead, so no one cares about Need for Speed anymore. And a lot of the Forza Horizon players and Need for Speed players just jumping ship to play the Crew Motorfest because this game still has a constant update, still, you know, adding a lot of content to the game. So yeah, the Crew Motorfest is our last hope for an open world arcade racing games. So that's why it's their time to shine. So I just hope IVT can improve a lot of stuff in the future updates. But yeah, that's basically my discussion and my rant about the Crew Motorfest. I just hope the game will improve a lot because, yeah, after they didn't even announce a brand new Forza Horizon games for this year, well, I guess the Crew Motorfest is our last hope. So that's why I decided to return to this game again from time to time. Even though I'm not playing a lot of Motorfest lately, but yeah, I think it's the best way to, you know, discuss with all of you. But yeah, for now, I will just end this video right here. So thank you everyone for watching this video till the end. And yeah, let's just discuss it in the comment section down below. And I will reply to your comments one by one, trust me. That's it for the video. I will see you guys again on the next one. Take care and goodbye. Bye.